Hi and welcome back to another video. We are in a different location of my apartment today because we're going to be doing something different. If you haven't seen my That Girl video, I'll link it up here and you can go ahead and watch that first if you'd like. But that'll kind of give you a gist of where we are in my apartment. So this is like my kitchen dining area. But for today's video, I am going to be making some protein banana bread. I noticed in my fridge that I had a couple of browning bananas, so I thought, why not make some protein banana bread and bring you along for the journey. So it's just a basic banana bread recipe, but instead of using the full flour portion for the recipe, I'm gonna put in like half a cup of pea protein instead. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so these are most of the ingredients that you'll need. The first thing we'll do is to preheat the oven at 350. Next, you're going to use one large egg and whisk it. You can either whisk it by hand with a handheld blender, or as I'm doing here, I'm using my KitchenAid stand mixer. And you'll just whisk it for a couple seconds. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to melt about 1/3 cup of butter. We'll place that to the side momentarily. Next, what you'll need is about 2 or 3 ripened bananas. You're going to place them in a bowl and just mash them up. And as you can see, I'm just using a fork to mash the bananas. What you'll do next is you'll place the melted butter and the bananas. Next, we're going to add a splash of vanilla. This is about half a teaspoon. And then just a little bit of salt. We're going to mix that up. Now it's time to prepare the flour and pea protein mixture. So I'm going to scoop out about 1 cup of flour and then half a cup of unflavored pea protein. You can go ahead and try to use a different kind of protein for this. I've just noticed that the pea protein works a little better with the mixture. I've tried brown rice protein before, but the texture of the banana bread didn't quite taste as good. And now we're just going to put about half a teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to add about half of the dry ingredients into the mixing bowl and mix it all up. And I'm just going to add about half a cup of sugar just to give it a little bit of sweetness, but you'll get most of the sweetness from the bananas themselves. I'm going to add the rest of the dry ingredients and give it a final mix. As always, we have an audience member, and don't forget to scrape the sides of your bowl and make sure you incorporate everything all together. What we're going to do next is we're going to prepare our baking pan. We're going to cut a bit of parchment paper. So the kind of pan I'm using today is about an 8 by 4 inch loaf pan. And you want to cut it to the length of the loaf pan and have just a little bit of the edges peek out a bit. Next, we're going to prep the baking pan with a little bit of Crisco. And then you're just going to go ahead and place your parchment paper in there. And this way the Crisco makes it stick and it won't move when you're pouring out your batter. And then you'll just go ahead and pour the batter all in. Try not to be as messy as I was. For some reason, it was a lot more difficult for me to pour out than it usually is. I'll blame it on being camera shy. So here I'm just spreading the batter out a little bit so it'll get in all the crevices. And next we're just going to add some decorative items to the top of the loaf pan, and I'm just putting some broken up pieces of pecans. And then I went ahead and sprinkled a little bit of brown sugar on there just to give it a nice little crust. That's about it for the banana bread. All we have left to do now is put it in the oven for about 60 minutes and you are good to go. Once those 60 minutes are over, do make sure to do the poke test. I usually use a fork, but you can use a toothpick or whatever you have on hand. You just stick the fork in the middle of the bread, and as long as it comes out clean, you're good to go. A few moments later. 60 minutes for me, but a couple seconds for you. And the banana bread is nice and ready. And I'm just going to place it on this wire rack so it will cool. The neat thing about using the parchment paper handles is that it'll give you some leverage into pulling out the loaf out of the loaf pan. It also makes cleanup really quick as well. And don't forget, your loaf pan is hot, so make sure you use an oven mitt or a towel to move it, even after you've taken the bread out. And there you have it, a nice and beautiful loaf of pea protein banana bread. I know it's not fully cooled down, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut in here because I simply can't wait to give it a try. And as you can see, we have beautiful steam coming out of this banana bread. Alright, let's try it out. The edges are nice and crispy and the interior is phenomenal. Well, that's it for this video today. I hope you all enjoyed. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this quick little banana protein bread recipe, please let me know if you'd like to see any more kind of recipe or cooking videos in the future, and I'll be sure to make some. But for now, I'll see you on the next one. Bye!